Hi, this is Eric with H&S Auto Shot. Everybody's used the Unispotter for over 50 years for setting studs into steel panels for dent repair. We'd like to introduce the Dual Pro 2.0, which is our multi-function steel and stud welding system. It's our Dual Pro 2.0. In a previous video we covered the aluminum side applications to this tool, but just to recap, this machine is capable of working with both aluminum and steel. The ground lug and the torch cable can come off here, and I can put the aluminum side on. Right now I have the steel side up, so this video is going to cover steel side applications. Power switch is in the back. The great part about this machine is this machine works off of single phase 110, 115 volt common shop power. So that's a real big plus and advantage, as it can be used in a lot of places in the shop instead of a 230 volt that's a little harder to find. So we'll unplug this machine back in, turn the machine on, and just give you kind of a quick orientation on how we get around on the machine. It does have a digital display, which is nice. We have trigger modes. So this is our manual trigger mode, which means we have to press the trigger on the torch when we want it to activate. We also have an automatic mode, which is nice, especially in a weld-on slide hammer situation, that when you get your tip close to the surface, it's going to go ahead and activate without having to touch the torch and activate the control. So we have our ground, and we have our torch connection, and then this middle, this is our control trigger that's going to activate everything. So we want to make sure that all of these are pushed in and then turned to the right, tightened. So we want good tight connections on all of our torch connections. And then to kind of go through the machine, we have the manual and auto mode like we talked about, and then we have our function selection kind of broken down. The first button here is for our aluminum studs, which again we covered that in a previous video. Please check it out on YouTube if you want to learn more about setting aluminum studs with this tool. Now we have this next mode down. This is for steel tabs. We'll show you that application in a little bit. We have our weld-on slide hammer, and then finally we have our just traditional pins or studs. So really nice, easy to use. You can see there's our steel stud. So you can also see a power adjustment window and then a little knob here. So we can change our power, we can adjust our power up or down. If we get to a point we really like that power setting, we can go ahead and click that in. You can see when that light blinks, it's actually saving that power adjustment. So as an example, if you're somewhere in your shop where you have it on an extension cord or need it a little bit hotter, a little bit cooler, you can turn this power adjustment up or down and then press the lock. You can see the light blinking 3 times. It's going to save that setting. So when I turn it off and then I turn it back on, you should see 92% should still be showing for steel studs. So again, steel studs, slide hammer, steel tabs, aluminum studs. So we come over to the machine. What does the machine come with? So this machine, our part number is a UNI-9802, as the machine itself, the power supply, and all the starter consumables and accessories. We have a UNI-9812, which is a cart by itself that will accommodate the 9802. And then we have the UNI-9862, which comes with all the goodies you could want. It comes with the cart, 3 bridges, a small, medium, and large bridge. It comes with aluminum hammers. It comes with extra consumables, etc. So please check that out if you're looking for a total shop solution. Again, this machine is quite a bit lighter than its predecessors, so it's pretty easy to move around, and it can be on a workbench, but we do have the full system available. So what comes out of the box, we talked about it a little bit, but obviously we have the ability to do steel tabs, and we have an attachment that's going to go into our torch here and allow us to shoot steel tabs. We have a stud tip, just regular 1001, 1002 steel pins. We have a wiggle wire attachment, so we can, and a little starter set of wiggle wire. We have mold rivet tip. We have some curved tabs. We have a weld-on slide hammer like we talked about, which is very nice. And we also have a tab shooter, and this allows us to put about 35 tabs in a magazine here and quickly discharge tabs. We'll show you that in a minute as well. So getting this tool ready to go, setting up for operation, how are we going to get started? Well, again, we talked about our ground and our torch being secure and tightened, nice and tightened, as well as the control pin. And this is our steel side torch, and this is our tip extender. So you can see this is actually cross-threaded, our torch, and here's the control button here on top of the torch. This is in manual mode. This is what's going to tell the welder what to do and activate the weld. We do have, this is cross hatch, as I mentioned, so you can actually approach this tool which whatever way is most comfortable for you. If you prefer to do something like that, you can, or I kind of prefer the 90-degree approach. So we'll go ahead and put that in, and then tighten that down nicely, making sure that our tip holder is all the way through the other side, a nice tight connection. And then we have a ground lug, and you can see we want to make sure, and we put this ground lug on, and to do that, we talked about everyone's got a Unispotter. We found that, what's most effective for me is our spot shrink tip. It comes with our Unispotters, our stingers. We just want a surface area that's larger than the ground itself. So you can see here's our ground. We'll go ahead and unscrew this a little bit, or screw it down so we have a nice point. Another point is, as you're using this tool, it's going to get kind of gummed up. This tip isn't going to be a tip anymore. So you're going to want to make sure as you maintain your tool and use it that you clean this area when it needs to be cleaned, and kind of sharpen that tip up will also help with longevity of the tool and life. So we'll come over here. Also, this is our steel panel. As an example, if we had a tear right here, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to put our ground here and then work over here. So we definitely, as a good rule of thumb, want to try to work as close as we can to the ground. So we're going to go ahead and get that ground on down. And we got our tip there. So we're going to put our ground firmly on the piece of metal. And we're going to put this guy firmly on, and then we're just going to hit the power. All right, and now we got a nice connection. Now, a lot of people think we're done. We're not finished here. So we want to go ahead and tighten this all the way to the metal. That's going to ensure we have a really nice ground for what we're working with. So that ground lug needs to be firmly down on the panel itself to give us a good connection. So we're going to take this out of the chuck and go ahead and show, well, let's go ahead and show just regular old pins. We're going to come over here. So we are on the pin setting. We're going to put one of these steel pins, a little 1001 in the chuck. Again, we want our tab tip, or our stud tip, the 1004. We'll put that guy in there, then we'll put our stud in. Now again, we're just going to come over here. We want good pressure. We don't want it to the side. We don't want to be cockeyed too much. Try to get as straight onto the panel as you can, and then just hit the trigger. This is a capacitive discharge welder, which means there's no chance for burn through or penetration on the other side. It's only going to give you one shot of energy. So unlike your Unispotter that you can hold down forever, this machine will give you one shot of energy, and then she's done. And then you can grab another stud and go to work. So we'll grab one more. This is the larger size pin. Come over here to our panel. Quick spot of energy. You can see we've got a nice stud connected there for our pulling application. So steel studs, no problem. Next, we'll go ahead and put in our tab tip. And again, this won't have to be in the extender. We'll put that right into the chuck. And this will hold steel tabs one at a time. So you can see how we've got it nicely in there. Gonna come over to the same thing. Before we do that, we'll come over here and go to our tab setting. Okay. And then we'll come over here to the panel. Now we've got a nice tab welded onto the panel. If you haven't used tabs before, what's really cool about working with tabs is you have this nice channel here. So if you can put a pulling rod through these, you can get them lined up really close to one another. So I can come down here and get this super close to the next one, and I can line these up down the crease, put a rod through, and actually pull the entire set of tabs at the same time. Really cool technology for shooting tabs. Now I can take that tab tip out, and I can put the tab shooter in, so I'll do that right now. Again, making sure we have a nice tight connection. Got a few of them in here. We'll go ahead and cock that. Now I got my tab shown here. I'm going to come over to the panel. You can see how quick that was, and I can put a lot more tabs in this tab shooter if I want to, but now I just really quickly, rather than having to manually fumble and put one in at a time. And this accessory does come with your purchase, which is a really nice accessory to have, especially when you're working with steel tabs. I won't necessarily show the application, but we'll put our tip holder back in, and we can take this little tip out. We can put this guy in its place for shrinking. We can also use our weld-on slide hammer. So this is pretty neat. This will go right into the chuck of the collar. I'm going to go ahead and weld this onto the panel, and then I can pull and use this as a traditional slide hammer, and then simply twist and turn off to take that off of the panel. So again, a really versatile machine. We've shown you some general setup and orientation for the steel side. Again, making sure that our ground is clean, that we get good connection, that we work close to our ground, and we've shown you there is a way to adjust the power settings on the machine by going up or going down and then clicking the button to make that lock in to adjust your power settings. But this is the UNI-9802 Dual Pro 2.0 steel and aluminum multi-function stud welder.